forgiveness is the key because, as you know better than anybody, if you're focused on such a bad person, and this, you know the old saying, get out the cross, we need the wood.
Right.
I'm gonna get out the cross, we need the wood, brother. Okay.
Right.
The light can't reach you.
Right.
And addiction is a spiritual malady.
Right. Yeah.
And so 12-step is such a beautiful process because the most important thing it does is, what's your part? You got to take responsibility for your actions.
Right.
And what I came up on my own, people are like, well, Seano, what about the people that kidnapped you?
Mm-hmm.
Like you must, and what I learned, Rev, was this: shame on them for treating me that way, and shame on me for staying that way.
That's beautiful.
And nobody can blow my light out, Michael, unless I give them permission.
I want to stop right there.
Okay.
Because this is deep. Shame on the person who did wrong to you.
That's right. Shame on them.
But if you stay the same...
Shame on me.
Then
Shame on me,
then they
man.
win.
That's right. They win.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to let them win anymore.
Right. Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and blessings, everyone. You're entering into the podcast of Take Back Your Mind. I'm your host, Michael B. Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center. And it's my joy to welcome you into this podcast in which we are always inviting people to take back their mind, take back their heart, take back their life that has been maybe hijacked by the world of fear, doubt, and worry, insecurity, anxiousness, anxiety, and all the ways that allow us to run away from ourselves in addictions, judgments, etc. We want to take back our mind. And so today I have Seano McFarland. Let me just say a little bit about it. First of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rev. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So
what a blessing. What a pleasure.
You've been to Agape a number of times.
Yes, of course I have. Yeah, of course I have.
It's a beautiful
thing. Are you going to do my announcement? Can I just talk right away?
Let me tell people who you are.
All right, tell me who I am.
I mean, a lot of people in Venice, they know who you are.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know me.
And a lot of people want to know you. And a lot of people need to know you.
Thank you.
So listen, I have Seano McFarland with me today. Renowned therapist, coach specializing in the treatment of chemical addiction, trauma, sex, and love addiction. He's the CEO of Shell Avenue Venice in Venice, California, a community spiritual hub and a residential program. He calls himself God's middleman. I like that. A translator committed to cracking hearts, letting the light in, and helping everyone shift the narrative. His clients range from top executives, celebrities, iconic change agents, and athletes to gangbangers and parents who struggle with their children's addiction and everything in between. There's no one left out. It's not just celebrity.
That's right.
It's not just the Mike Tysons of the world. It's anyone who needs assistance. Hey, welcome, brother.
Thank you, brother. It's good to be here. Whoa, Michael, here we are, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, first off, I want to give a shout out to Sister Brandy.
Oh yeah, our sister.
She called us in.
Yeah, she did.
And
she'd been telling me about you for a long time.
Yeah. And I just want to thank you. I might have the numbers wrong. 38 years here, Agape.
Yeah, we're
40 years been teaching.
We're in our 38th year. I've been teaching over 40 years. Yeah.
That's an impressive record.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know this, but in the 12-step community, you are the church for many people.
Yeah, I know.
They found God. They couldn't find it in AA maybe, but they found it at Agape.
Right. Yeah, we have a lot of folks that come from the 12 steps, and they end up having an awareness of the God they can understand. It's not a guy in the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a presence of pure spirit that's everywhere that can reveal itself anyway. Even in your place.
Yes, sir.
And especially at your place today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here. And shout out Brandy.
Sabella. That's right.
We love you, man. I mean, love you, woman.
Big time, sister. Big time.
You know, I'm going to have her on one day because she has a powerful story of how she came to Agape many years ago and the way her life has changed.
Big time.
And she's always said, you should know him. You should know him. You should know him. Well, now we're here.
And we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Okay.
in terms of, I mean, you're helping people with addiction, but you had to overcome your own
Yes, I did.
addictions and all manner of struggles that you went through. What,
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little about your
Well,
backstory.
just briefly, I grew up in Arizona.
Okay.
And my father, God bless him, he had other plans than staying married and taking care of 3 kids.
Uh-huh.
And so my mother and I and my brother and sister, we had to move basically the hood. It was government housing. It was powdered milk and food stamps.
Yeah.
My mom did the best she could. And about 6 months after my father leaving, I was kidnapped.
I heard about this. I read about
And
this.
I was used for child pornography, and I was tortured. And they put a gun in my head, and they threatened to kill me. And I didn't tell anybody that until I was 27. Arizona at the time had the highest child abduction rate in the country.
How old were you when this was happening?
Pardon me?
How old
I
were
was
you?
12 years old.
So from 12 to what?
Well, I was gone for a couple days.
They tortured you during this time
Yeah.
and put a gun to your head.
Yeah. And I had an angel that day that saved me because I since profiled people like that for different agencies, and I know without a doubt.
Right.
And my whole life changed that moment. I started selling my body on the streets, mostly men, sometimes women. By the time I was 14, I was a full-blown addict. And then,
What was your drug of choice at that time?
alcohol, cocaine, Valium. That was my get down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, this was the 80s.
Right.
And a lot happening then. And I was like, oh, this cocaine, this is pretty interesting. I think I can make some money. And I was a pretty well-known drug smuggler for many years. This is, if you ever saw Cocaine Cowboys, you could learn a little bit about where I was coming from.
Okay.
Magical documentary about that time in Florida. Thankfully, I got arrested. And within, about a year's time from that, everything, my addiction went full-blown, even got worse. I was in horrible late stages of alcoholism, even at 21 years old. There was a contract on my life, and I was getting ready to go back to prison, so I was on a hot streak.
So you had both things, getting ready to go back to prison and somebody trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And somebody was trying to kill you because of a drug deal gone bad?
Yeah, they thought I was going to turn evidence on them. And these are very serious people. These are people that you don't mess with.
Right. So they thought you were going to roll over.
Yeah. And my sister, God bless her, Tori, she was 19 at the time. She came over with her sponsor, and what was, good old-fashioned 12-step call where you go out and carry the message. And they tapped my heart. And I went to my first meeting January 5th, 1987. I've been sober ever since.
Wow, 1987.
Yeah, so I'm coming up on 38 years.
Yes, because we started Agape November 1986.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming on 38 years of sobriety. So you went to that meeting, and that one
stuck.
meeting.
It stuck. I got tapped.
What do you think? What do you think happened that allowed you? Because some people drag it out. I mean,
most people don't get that. You're right.
But the first time,
right?
what do you think that was?
I saw my people. I heard people tell my story. I wasn't alone anymore. I found a tribe.
Right, and that just opened you up.
It opened me up.
That's interesting.
And God miraculously took the cravings away from me.
It was just gone.
See,
so now you're 21 when this is happening?
Yes, I was 22. Right when I got sober, I was 22, and I'm sure like my phone rings off the hook. Seano.
Right.
What do I got to do to get better? It's really always the same answer. You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That's right.
You just sit. That's it.
That's it.
You got to tap out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Right.
I give up.
That's what happens with people. Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Sick and tired of being sick. That's it. There's no other way around it.
So once that happens, then you become open.
Then you be open
to the answers that are always there, but you can't see them until you're interested. When you're sick and tired, then suddenly you become interested in a different way, and then everything is singing to you. Everything is pulling you. That's amazing. I can remember when I was attending USC years ago, and I had a spiritual awakening. And when I woke up, I never got high again.
Oh, wow.
Same way. I never, ever got high again.
But what happened for you that day? What happened? What did you
I got
hear?
killed in a lucid dream. I mean, I don't want to tell my whole story.
Yeah, I understand.
But I got killed, and when I woke up, I was different. And never got high ever again in life. It just fell off. And so I understand this when I hear you say you never got high again. I understand. I did get high one time after that, maybe about 10 years later. Some friends came to some family members came from D.C. and they smoked weed. I didn't smoke weed. And just for the communal aspect of it, I took a hit and my consciousness shrunk. I didn't realize how expanded I was until I smoked cannabis sativas, and then it went, and I started feeling all of these human experiences of doubt and anxiety and worry, and I said, wow, this is what people feel like?
Mm.
That was the last time.
Last time.
Yeah.
So you know this, Michael. There's physical sobriety,
Right.
which was easy for me.
Yeah.
Then there's the emotional sobriety,
Right.
waking up.
Talk to us about that.
Well, you know, I had 6 months of sobriety. So imagine I'm 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not drinking, and I'm still facing a very, very serious federal indictment.
Yeah, you got
They're coming
people
after me
trying
hard.
to kill you, and you got the feds after
And
you.
at 6 months, those guys from Florida
Mm-hmm.
end up catching up to me.
Mm-hmm.
And through God's grace, I mean, they shot my roommate. They were waiting for me for hours, and they shot him. And it was overwhelming and scary. I didn't want to drink.
Did they kill him?
No, he survived,
He survived
somehow.
it. Uh-huh.
He miraculously jumped out of windows. They were shooting him, and he survived it. And I ran to the Scottsdale Valley Lotto Club. I had 6 months of sobriety. My sponsor, Jay, used to run the heroin trade in Lower East Side of Manhattan.
Wow.
And he said, "Are you ready to do the third step prayer?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, why do it? We go upstairs." Whew.
Mm-hmm.
And we got on our knees,
Mm-hmm.
and we held hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very simple prayer. And it goes like this: God, I offer myself to thee,
Mm-hmm.
to build with thee,
Mm-hmm.
and to do with thee as thou wilt.
Mm-hmm.
Relieve me of the bonds of self,
Mm-hmm.
that I may better do thy will.
Yes.
Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness of those I'd help with thy power, thy love, thy way of life, may do that will always.
Yeah.
And I started sobbing for the first time.
Wow.
And he said, "Seano, why are you crying?" I said, "God, I don't feel alone anymore."
Uh-huh. Mm. You felt the presence, you felt Jay,
Yeah.
and you felt a larger community
Yeah.
that was supporting you.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a theme for people when they start to realize they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because up until that moment for people, people actually feel they're by themselves. They're in this alone, and they have their heart is encased.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And so at that moment, it cracked open.
Cracked open.
Yeah.
It cracked open. And then I had to start really doing the heavy work.
Right.
Mhm.
And when you call the heavy work, are you dealing with making amends? Are you dealing with self-forgiveness? I know self-forgiveness is a big part of the
Well,
journey.
forgiveness is the key, because, as you know better than anybody, if you're focused on such a bad person,
Yeah.
and this, you know the old saying, "Get out the cross, we need the wood."
Right.
I'm gonna get out the cross, we need the wood, brother.
Right,
Okay.
right.
The light can't reach you.
Right.
And addiction is a spiritual malady.
Right. Yeah.
And so 12 step is such a beautiful process, because the most important thing it does is, what's your part? You got to take responsibility for your actions.
Right.
And what I came up on my own, people are like, "Well, Seano, what about the people that kidnapped you?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, you must. And what I learned, Rev, was this: shame on them
Mm-hmm.
for treating me that way,
Mm-hmm.
and shame on me for staying that way.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
And nobody can blow my light out, Michael, unless I give them permission.
I want to stop right there.
Okay.
Because this is deep. Shame on the person
Yeah.
who did wrong to you.
That's right. Shame on them.
But if you stay the
Shame
same,
on me.
then
Shame on me,
then they
man.
win.
That's right. They win.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to let them win anymore.
Right. So then you made a change.
I made a change.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Because I sometimes tell people, there are a lot of crazy people in the world, a lot of mad men, a lot of mad women, a lot of fools, I call them. And there's an old statement that says, "Suffer fools gladly."
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, there's crazy people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But you have compassion, forgiveness and compassion, which doesn't condone their action, but it frees you from that emotion because you're not hating them. You're not involved with them anymore. It doesn't stop them from having their own karmic retribution,
That's right.
but it frees you
Yes, sir.
from that cycle of being caught up with whatever they did or said. So that's what you said. That you broke it down in just 4 words.
Right.
Shame, well, more than 4 words. Shame on them for
Right.
what they did, but shame on you for staying the same. That's beautiful.
And I just made that my superpower, and I
Right.
made that my gift.
Forgiveness.
Well, forgiveness and learning what happened, because when I work in Rwanda with genocide survivors,
You're right.
and I'm in northern Uganda working with children soldiers,
Right.
okay, I don't speak the language, but I speak the language.
Yes. Underneath the English language.
That's
Underneath-
right. They understand. They know, because I'm not preaching them. I'm just talking as a fellow trauma survivor to them.
Right. So tell us about your journey. Okay, you're 22. Did you go to prison?
No.
Okay, that's another grace.
Yeah, another big time grace.
That's a big time grace.
Yeah, big time grace. Yeah. I'll just tell you briefly.
No, go. We got time.
Okay. This is, pre-cell phone,
Yeah.
computer. And I learned early on, the key to this is service. The key to this is stay busy.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what gets
yes.
me out of myself better than anything.
Right.
And I just was able to tap into that. And so this is back in the day, the phones would ring. Someone would call the Lano Club, a local club. Hey, is there a meeting? Da, da, da. And this brother called up and said, he said, I'm in real trouble. I said, well, there's a meeting tonight. Do you want to come to the meeting? He said, no, I need somebody to come see me. And back in those days, we can't do it now. It's too scary.
Right.
We said, we got a wet one. Does anybody want to come?
Uh-huh.
Nobody wanted to come.
Uh-huh.
And I went out there and I drove out there. It was way in the heck out there. And I knock on the door and then nobody answers. I knock again. I said, I came all the way out here.
Right.
I just walked in. I said, hello, hello. And I'm looking and then I see him and I go, oh my God, are you kidding me? I thought it was one of the DEA agents that arrested me.
And he was calling you for help?
He was a drunk.
Wow.
And
wait a minute. This is deep. I don't want anybody to let go of this. The person that's calling you is one of the DEA agents that arrested you in the
That's
first
right.
place, and he's calling for help.
he's calling for help at
And-
the Scottsdale Valley Lano Club.
And God pulled you to be with this man.
Pulled me to be with
So
him.
what happened?
I got him sober.
Uh,
I got him sober. And so when it came time to my sentencing,
right.
I met before with my lawyer, Larry Kazan, and he said, Seano, you're probably going to last do 5.
Uh-huh.
And the courtroom's packed because people knew I was, they believed in me. I had
Right.
people that actually believed in me.
Right.
And, the district attorney presents their case and all that. And then my lawyer, and they call up this, he's a special agent. And he says, Your Honor, I beg of you, please do not put that man in prison. He saved my life. I'm a better agent of him. I'm a better father. I've seen what he's done in the community. I put my badge on it. And the judge took a beat, Michael. He said, Mr. McFarland, approach the stand. And he looked at me and he couldn't hear a pin drop.
Mm-hmm.
He says, it must be your lucky day, sir. You're a free man.
Wow. You walked away.
I walked away. No trouble since. I don't want any trouble, man.
That's beautiful. I had a similar experience.
I'm sure you did. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I was arrested for a lot of weed and guns and stuff. But I'd had a spiritual awakening, and I got arrested. Most people know this story. That's been coming to Agape for a while. I got arrested on my last drug deal. I said, I'm never doing this again. This is not my destiny. And I'm not going to tell the whole story, but anyway, I got arrested. And the inner voice said, you're going to walk free. So I came to court for the arraignment and everything, had my suit and tie on, and I'm reading meditation books. I'm not concerned with what's going on up there because I've been told by God within that life is over. People, my friends thought I was crazy. They thought I was going to do I was going to do time for the drugs, and I was going to do federal time for the guns. I said, I'm not going to jail at all. And so we're sitting there, and my attorney was Harry Weiss. He had an assistant attorney. And so at one point, there was a motorcycle cop that they were interviewing. And they said, well, why did you go to Mr. Beckwith's house? I'm not going to tell that whole backstory because they didn't follow the law, but it doesn't matter. And he says, well, we heard, the informant told us there was going to be a drug deal going down, so we got a search warrant. We staked out his house. We saw the drugs being delivered. We came in and arrested him. None of that happened, but that's what they said. That guy wasn't even there on the scene. Anyway, the assistant attorney jumps up and says, oh, that's hearsay evidence. We invite the informant to come forth into court and identify the accused. And so the judge calls the attorneys together and says, please bring the informant to court within the next 3 days. Come back to court 3 days later, and the prosecutor says, the informant is afraid for his life. He won't come. And the judge says, Mr. Beckwith, I have no other recourse but to set you free. Wow. I hope I never see you in my courtroom again.
What year was that?
1970 something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
The assistant attorney was Robert Shapiro.
Oh, my God.
He was a young assistant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I walked out of the courtroom. I went home, and I was crying, and I was standing in front of my house, and there was a weather vane on the neighbor's house pointing, you know how it points in the direction of the wind. And I said, God, if this means what I think it means regarding my destiny, I want that weather vane to point in my direction against the wind. I don't know why I had to test God again. And the weather vane, before I could finish, pointed right at me. And I started crying. I broke down, got on my knees, and just surrendered my life to the presence of God. I said,
Wow.
I will be your instrument for the rest of my life.
That was it. That was right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
never smoked again, I never did anything illegal. And the rest of my life was integrating this awakening that I had. And I never thought I was going to be a public person speaking. I would just love God and just use me. And then little by little, as I kept integrating the higher frequencies, I got into more service, became a spiritual therapist, started doing seminars and workshops like you. I want to get into this because I could speak directly from direct experience.
Yeah, big time.
Not like reading a book and saying the stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is where you come in because when you speak to people, it is your direct experience
That's right.
of your own overcoming and your own trials and tribulations and your own forgiveness and self-forgiveness. When people, like you say, when you go to Rwanda or any of these child soldiers, they can feel.
They can feel.
You're real. You're
That's
real.
right. That's right.
You're not doing this.
No.
You're doing this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's
how
right.
how did you get from, what happened to go from, you're not going to jail now. Okay, you're free. And then what happened in your life to build where you are now? I mean, you have this center in Venice. You're dealing with child soldiers. You're dealing with genocide individuals. I mean, give me the steps.
Yeah, so the steps were very, very briefly. Like so many people, I came out here from Arizona to be an actor. Right? Did that whole yeah, right? Okay, I wanted to do that. I wasn't, a couple great things happened. I got a commercial. I did a great play with Dylan McDermott and Don Cheadle. It was Short Eyes, putting me on the map.
Short Eyes.
Yeah, Short Eyes prison drama.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, I remember that. Of course I do.
Oh, wow.
That was a classic.
Yeah, classic. And I was blessed to work with Jeff Goldblum as his stand-in driver, and he was such a great teacher. I did 3 movies with him. He got me in the follow-up to Jurassic Park. I was going to do this little part in this movie, and then my dream was to go study with the Atlantic Theater Group in New York and to be with David Mamet, William Macy. I got into that. It's 1996. I'm going to go to Think Lake Champagne for this amazing experience. I'm 10 years sober, and I get ran over by a car on a bicycle.
What?
And now I'm paralyzed for 3 days.
Wow.
And now they did emergency surgery, and I'm in a halo. You ever see a halo?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I've got this thing, no pain pills, because I toughed it out, not because I'm a tough guy.
You didn't want to be addicted again.
I don't want to get that. And about 6 months into that, a friend of mine was doing a movie over at Sony Pictures with this basketball player that was getting in a lot of trouble. He said, "Would I just come do another 12-step call?" I said, "Sure." I wasn't supposed to drive. I go over there, and about 15 minutes in, I said, "Hey, man, I don't want to be rude or presumptuous. Did somebody rape you?" He broke down crying. Him and I became best friends. This NBA team hired me. Went to UCLA, graduated top of my class, and then just started doing my thing, private practice in a little studio down at the beach. And like you, one thing led to another.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you shifted your narrative.
Yeah, I thought I was supposed to, just like you, I thought I was supposed to go one direction, and then, no, we're going to go this direction.
Right. When I was in school, I was a psychobiology major. I thought I was going to go to med school. And then I could see through that particular level of training. I don't have anything against doctors or anything, but I could see through that particular kind of training and realize there was another calling upon me.
That's right.
Then I didn't think I was going to be a minister, but I did know I was going to be a part of working with people to expand their consciousness. So the whole narrative just shifted for me. Yeah.
And what I like to say is what you and I know, they don't teach at Yale.
Absolutely.
They don't teach it. Because nobody knows a junkie like a junkie. Nobody knows a hustler like a hustler.
Right. And then when you change, you're a hustler for God.
That's it. I'm not peddling dope anymore. I'm peddling truth.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not even really a peddle. You're living it.
Yeah, I'm living it, of course.
Yeah.
A little bit of fun, yeah.
God bless. So tell us about the development of this shell organization. I mean, you said you went over, you made it sound so simple.
Yeah, but it's nothing simple, but in a matter of time. Yeah, it wasn't simple. But I, like you, I had a calling and I had a faith in myself, but I also wanted to do something no one else did. And I wanted to specialize in chemical addiction, and I wanted to specialize in sex and love addiction, because what I was seeing
was... You said second love?
Sex and love addiction.
Oh, sex and love. Yeah, a love addiction now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of people would get physically sober, Michael, but they didn't tap into this part of their life. And they would meet a girl and get jammed up,
right,
and that would lead to relapse.
Right.
And I just could see what's happening in the world, and I made the first documentary on sex addiction where people were in disguise. And then Oprah found it, and she put me on her show. That really kind of put me on the map. But I was brave enough to do this movie that no one ever did before.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was, I'm a bit of a cowboy, and I'm in whatever works business.
Right.
And I had a very specialized version. When you come down to Shell, you'll see, when I first saw the place, it was like, whoa, I wanted it to be a combination between Motown, when Barry and Steve, everybody was working.
Right.
Stevie would come down and play. It was magical.
Right.
And the Haight-Ashbury Free Drug Clinic.
Uh-huh.
And they were the first drug clinic in San Francisco. They said, hey, man, you're shooting up. It's cool. We just don't want you to die. No shame.
Right. No shame in your game.
No shame in my game. No blame in my game.
Right.
And that's the vibe and the energy, and that's what we've created over there.
Right. So you allow people to be comfortable with themselves to then grow into forgiveness
That's
of
right.
themselves, because nobody's calling them a bad person.
No.
There's no judgment.
No, there's no judgment.
This is just what's happening.
This is what's happening.
We don't want you to die. We want you to be a greater version of yourself, so then people feel loved and supported. Yeah, authentically.
Authentically. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that's the real religion, because you're bringing a person back to the source.
And like you do so beautifully. And like, do you know Father Boyle at Homeboy
Oh,
Industries?
sure, I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
We meet people where they're at,
Yeah.
and they sense it. I meet them where they're at.
Right.
Like there's a very famous gentleman that's come to Venice. His name's Rico. He's a notorious gangster.
Uh-huh.
He's 54 now. I think 35 years he's been in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thought he would get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when he first came in, I saw him, and I just gave him a hug.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's hugged him like that before.
Mm-hmm.
And Shell used to be a Mexican deli.
Mm-hmm.
in
Really?
Venice.
Okay.
And Rico used to come in and rob the deli.
Like
And
regularly?
And he would take all the stuff and he would go sell it, okay, to everyone in Venice, right?
You mean he'd take the food? He'd
Yeah,
steal
he'd
the
take
food.
He would steal the chicken and the steaks and everything.
Yeah.
And he'd go sell it to get us to have it. So when I learned that, I said, how does it feel to come through the front door, brother?
Because you knew.
Because I knew.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, yeah. And we can laugh, but there's also time to say, let's cut the jive, man.
Right.
I don't want to hear this anymore. Are you serious? Because this is what, I can't hear this anymore.
Right.
I'm exhausted.
Right.
So there's an art to that, as you know.
Absolutely. Right. And what is Rico doing today?
Rico is with his family.
Uh-huh.
He's employed, and everyone's scratching their head how this guy did it. But that same prayer that I said with my sponsor, I said with him.
Right.
And he talked, how does somebody like Rico, a guy who's known violence, who's a notorious guy, get free and not be on the streets? He looked at the shame. Mm-hmm. He looked at the sexual molestation of his own family, because in those families you don't talk about it.
Right.
He didn't run away from it. He saw his own brother get his head blown off right in front of him. He's been shot 5 times. This isn't just a guy who's casually in the,
Right.
And he allowed me to love him.
Yeah.
He allowed me to care for him.
Right.
He allowed me to protect him.
Right.
We say in the program, let us love you until you can love yourself.
Right. Absolutely.
Isn't that what you do
Yeah,
here?
that's what we say.
Let us love you until you can love yourself.
Yeah, we say something along those lines, like lean on our faith, lean on our love, until you can do it for yourself. Yes, it's exactly the same.
And then it kicks in. Then you pass it on to somebody else.
Right, absolutely. My God. You got a lot of stories,
I got a lot of stories.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stories.
Which one comes to your mind at this moment?
Well,
Wait a minute, you, can I talk about the fact that you worked with Mike Tyson?
Sure.
Yeah, because he kind of talks about it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he talks about it publicly, and I was on his podcast, and I'm in his book, and yeah. So,
I know Brandy has told me about it.
Michael, when I met him, we've been together, I want to say 17 years now. He was extraordinarily overweight.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting ready to go back to prison in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
He had $6,000 to his name. He had a newborn getting ready to come in, and they said, "Oh, you should probably meet Seano," and he's checking me out, as he should.
Oh, absolutely.
And I walked through him what addiction looks like for me, and I had a picture of my son in the back. I said, if I get high, if I want to go act out with this girl, I don't use the F word about my son. He goes, that's my guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so Mike and I joined forces, and the thing about the Champ that you'll really appreciate, when we would go to, because he lived with me for a year. Imagine. Right?
Yeah.
And we'd go to a restaurant or an event, and when he'd walk in, he would say, everyone's going, look at that fat N-word.
Mm-hmm.
And he really, and so what I taught him was, Michael, when that happens, it's going to happen. Let's just be an acceptance. It's going to happen. He would grab my wrist, and that was his sign to say, okay, I need help. And I would say, Michael, I love you. We're cool, we're safe, we're protected. And then, we would touch heads with each other, and I'd make him feel safe.
Right.
Now, what I love about that story is this is the baddest man on the planet asking for help.
Right.
You have to ask for help. You have to say, I don't know. You have to say, I'm scared.
Yeah.
We're not all mind readers here.
Right. Yeah. We call that beginner's mind, or being like a
You have to
child.
be a beginner's mind.
Yeah.
Because the disease goes so beautifully in isolation.
Yeah.
You got to ask for the help.
Right.
And then just over the years, I've just watched him change, and ups and downs, you can imagine.
Sure.
And he's still married to Kiki, and he's become a really great father.
Yeah.
And he's taking responsibility for his actions, and it's been quite a ride with him.
Right. Now how did you get to Rwanda?
So I was treating this gentleman. He was a very famous porn star. He was staying at the residency program. Right? And I'm like, okay, I'm learning about his story. He goes, you should meet my wife. She does a lot of things. I'm like, oh, okay. He has everyone. And I meet her, and I'm going, oh, wow, she has this thing called Pilot Light. And she goes out to these different places and does microloans and raises money for them.
Yeah.
And I go, well, would you like to go, sometime? I go, okay, let me think about that.
And let's go to Rwanda?
Go to Rwanda. And she goes, well, okay, actually, we'd like you to go to work there. I said, well, what does that look like? Well, we want you to do sessions and see what we can do to help the community. And I said, count me in. Because I'm in the count me in business. I'm in the yes business.
Right.
I mean, what can I do to make your life better business?
Right.
And of course I was scared. And I always say, I'm the biggest scaredy cat in the room, but I'm a triple black belt and showing up.
I like that.
Yeah, I am. I'm a triple, because I will always show up.
Yeah.
I will. And so, it's a day to get there. It's a long flight. It takes me 3 days usually. We got in. By the time we got through customs, it was 11 o'clock. We had a 7:30 call time, and we're driving to this village run. I've never been there before, and I see all these women, Michael, lining up. And I said, Carol, what's going on here? What are all these gals? They said, they're here to see you, Seano. I said, what? She said, some of them are blind. Some of them walked 8 miles. And I said, let's get to work. And I had a translator, and I saw every woman that day, and I worked there for a week. And you know what?
And what were they coming to you with? What was the stories?
It's what the PTS, what they went through.
Yeah.
It was, men were still abusive to them.
Yeah.
Having faith, losing, all these different things. And it was, the one thing is this, and you do this better than anybody, active listening. You just really listen to someone from your heart, and they feel cared for. For the first time.
Right. And these are all women?
All women.
Wow.
These are all women that survived the genocide, and some of them were handicapped, and it was very powerful. And then I raised money, and then it's you drive to northern Uganda, and it's a very tricky place to get and dangerous, and somebody's always had it worse from you. I was just taken for 2 days. These kids at 12 years old were taken for 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Right, and they were trained to kill people.
And they did kill people.
Yeah.
They had machine guns taller than they were.
Right.
And they did kill people.
Right.
So they came back and they were brainwashed. And so many people there just preaching that. You know what I did? I blasted James Brown and I danced with him.
Wow.
And I threw the Frisbee and I challenged them to push
You changed their state.
That's right.
You changed their state of energy.
Because I wanted them to understand, let's just move your body, take care of your body.
Right.
And something you might forget about your life for a little bit.
Right.
And we were just all brothers and sisters together, and that was really magical.
Okay, so you changed their state.
Right.
James Brown, I feel good. Whatever the song.
Yeah,
was.
that's exactly it.
And then how did you go? So now they're free from their life for a minute. But how did you get them to move from that state to become a permanent healing? And the ones that did have that kind of healing.
And then I was there for a week, and then I would do little programs for them, and I would give them little lectures with the translator, and I made like a little cheat sheet for them to have when they get under attack, how to bring themselves back to the here and now, how to just stay focused, okay, how to talk among themselves, because they didn't talk about what happened still, because they had so much shame.
Oh, yes.
And I helped them start little support groups.
Yeah.
And then I, challenged them to go to school and do all these different things, and of course pray and get right with your higher power. Not my higher power.
Right.
It's not this person who's preaching. It's what works for you.
Right. Your own relationship with God.
And I talked, Michael, and I'll end with this, the power that they're survivors.
Right.
They survived this.
That's good. That's
okay,
good.
and they're warriors, and they're here to do great things in the world.
That's good. Yeah, I know that. When I'm speaking at Agape, I'll remind people often, you're here right now. So you had to make it through something.
That's right.
To sit here.
That's right.
Whether it's abuse, whether it's getting fired,
That's
whether
right.
it's getting hit by a car or whatever it is, build on your strength. Not your deficit, but
Right.
build on your
Build
strength.
on your strength.
And then go from there.
And go
so
from
this
there.
is what you did.
That's right.
In individuals in the worst case possible. Genocide.
Right.
Killing.
Killing.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is-
killing. I mean, you know the story.
Yeah.
You've seen their whole family.
Yeah.
Out.
Just
Done.
Wiped out. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Out.
And so I imagine you have seen, because I know I've seen this, you've seen people, as you just described, their whole family's wiped out, and they can easily go into hate.
Right.
But some kind of way you're able to snatch them back and bring them into the forgiveness piece.
That's right. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because you know, it's I try, as I said this earlier, if you stay in that place, you will never be free.
Right.
And the captors, you're still captured.
Right.
And let's not do that anymore. You're here right now. We can do beautiful things together with each other
Right.
and just inspire them that way.
Right. Yeah. And there's still so much work to be done now.
Oh, there's
I mean,
so
look at the
it's
world.
never ending.
No,
It's
al-
never
There's
ending.
always mad people out here. There's always
mad
crazy
people.
and people that just foment violence and
Yeah.
greed and stealing
right.
and then capturing people's minds to be on one side or another and hate. So there's always a lot of work for us to have people take back their mind.
Every day.
Yeah.
I have a daily reprieve based on my spiritual maintenance every day.
Yeah. So what do you do to take back your mind on a daily basis?
Oh, I love it. There's a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I get up at 4:35 every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because one thing I've learned, Michael, is I have to work a little bit harder than the average bear. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You and I have big responsibilities.
Yeah.
Okay. It's somebody trusts me. They're paying me a lot of money for time. I better bring it.
Right.
Okay. So I never lay in bed and try to figure it out.
Right.
Okay. I get right out of bed. I say 10 thank yous.
Uh-huh.
And then you'll appreciate this. I go, yeah, baby. I do an Elvis karate chop. Every time it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Then I get
laughter is a good medicine.
You got to laughter, and then I light my candle, and then I get my coffee, and then I might blast a little you in the morning.
Oh, look at you.
Because if you even go on Michael's 1 minute Instagram reel and that doesn't crack your heart, check yourself into the hospital because something's really wrong. And I get tuned in and I think about the day and the vision. How do I want to do? What's going to go on?
Right.
And then I go to Gold's Gym, and then I jump in the ocean every day.
Oh, we have a very similar practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wake up. Well, first I'll lay in the bed a minute and I'll scan my body from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head, and I just kind of bless the body temple to be used as an instrument of God, and then I see. I basically teach that, of course, we live in a field of infinite possibilities. So I choose one, and I choose, this is going to be a great day. Like this morning, I said it's going to be a great day. These podcasts are going to be amazing, and everybody I meet today is going to be wonderful. So I kind of get into that space. Then I get out of bed, and I put my feet on the ground, and I become grateful. I just give, thank you, thank you, God. Then I surrender, and then I ask for help. I ask for the strength to meet anything that comes in my, because there's a lot of things that happen that I'm not planning. I mean, I have a to-do list today, but there's going to be stuff that I'm not planning. Give me the strength to handle whatever comes. I call it my assignment, because whatever comes into my space is my assignment. So give me the strength to handle any assignment that comes into my space. Then I go and drink my water. I have warm water infused with lemon, minerals, different stuff. I drink that with my systemic enzymes, make my tea, go to the gym, work out.
Yep.
Then I come back and meditate.
Yep.
Then I shower, pray a little bit more before I leave the house. Then I hit to the office.
We're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm coming in like I'm ready.
You're ready to go.
You know,
you got to be ready to go.
'cause it's
You
not-
can't cold call the day.
No, because it's not me.
Yeah, it's not you.
I'm
It's
like
never you.
I'm representing the presence.
Yes, you are, sir.
You know, it doesn't even matter how I'm feeling with passing through, because I'm more in tune with this other energy, God. You know, I get to represent God to the best of my ability. Some days are better than others. You know, but I, like you, don't beat myself up about it. Just keep on rolling.
That's right.
So yeah, so basically what you're talking about is practice.
Practice. Yeah, practice.
Yeah.
You and I, we worked with, you look at the change agents of the world.
Yeah.
They have a routine they will never go off. I will never go off that morning routine wherever I'm at in the world. It will never happen.
Right. Me either. I can't do it.
It's just good business.
Well, it's good business, and I can't show up without it,
Right.
I can't
Mm-hmm.
can't do it.
Can't do it.
You know what I mean? When I travel a lot. When I land and I get to the hotel room, whatever, I put my butt up against the wall and have my feet up, so that the blood rushes backwards. So that it's the immortality
Oh, I love that.
posture in yoga. So I'm there for 10, 20 minutes, and just letting my body come back into homeostasis from flying and all of that, and pray, and then I say, okay, use me. And then I get up and do what I have to do, hydrate, work out, whatever I have to do to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always tell people to do some work before you leave the house. Don't leave home without it.
Ever.
Because you don't want individuals to meet your unresolved issues.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to meet your part of you that's overcome.
Amen. Right
Doesn't
on.
mean you're perfect.
Right.
There's no perfection.
Mm-hmm.
But you want them to meet your practice, not your issues.
Mm-hmm.
You take your issues to the person you get to work with.
This is true.
Yeah. So I can feel you. Yeah, this is your energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So what's unspoken right now that you need to tell these magnificent people that are tuning in to take back
What's
your mind
unspoken?
today?
What's unspoken? Well, I will offer this. Really, the ocean is my church at the end of the day.
Okay.
It's where I truly let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you get in the water?
Every day.
Uh-huh.
No wetsuit.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Even-
cold, man.
Yeah,
You're in
no.
California. But you're used to it now.
Well, yeah, because it wakes me up. But here's the thing, and this is every Friday. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, Michael. Okay, the ocean's a great teacher.
Yeah.
And I take people out in the water for the first time.
Right.
So anybody's welcome to come out. It's free. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you to get the information. It's okay. And so I have people that are Olympic athletes, but I have people that have body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And they haven't taken their shirt off in public in 13 or 15 years.
Wow.
And they're really overweight.
Wow.
And they're scared.
Right.
And I guide them in. We tap our feet in the water and the sand first. And we tap into Mother Earth. And we feel the current. And I said, let's connect with the whales. Let's connect with the dolphins. Because that might be their first experience of having a higher power.
Right. Right.
And we connect in. And then sometimes they just put their feet in, they're too scared. And then sometimes we get out and I watch them become a little child again. And they're free and they're not scared anymore. And they come out and, they're excited to be in the world.
Right. Right.
And I
And
love
you do that
doing
every
with
night.
people.
Every night.
No, every Friday. I swim every day by
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyone can come do it every Friday.
Tell
7
them where to
a.m.
come. Yes.
Santa Monica, Lifeguard Station 28, 7 a.m. It's 2 stations south of Ocean Park. We run, walk, meditate, do pull-ups, dips, or you can just sit down and the swimming portion starts at 7:40. It's free.
In the evening?
No, in the morning.
Oh, this is 7:40 in the morning.
We got to start in the morning, Ref.
Yeah, I got it.
We got to start in the morning.
Yeah.
It's free. Come out and give me a hug and just say you're a friend of Michael's and we'll get at it. Yeah, that's it.
Now, you're friend of Bill's too.
Yeah, friend of Bill's too. Friend of Bill's too. Yeah.
Friend of Michael, friend of Agape.
Yeah.
I might have to join you one day.
Yeah. Oh, you would. That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I kind of, I grew up in the ocean, Santa Monica. I used to go out. We grew up going there, taking the blue bus, going out there,
Oh,
swimming out to the buoys. I don't even see the buoys out there anymore.
Yeah, every once
But
in
we
a
would
while.
swim to the buoys. We never could leave the beach without touching. But back in those days, you could actually see fish
Yeah.
under our feet.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of polluted. So, you
Well,
know.
it got back in those days. It was quite clear. Then it got funky, and it's good now because I checked the report card. So
Really?
Hilda Bay, yeah, where we swim, everybody, it's an A+ report card. I won't swim in bad water. The only time I won't go in is after a storm.
Okay.
The water's very
Because I
clean.
haven't gone in years because I remember it gotten really
water's-
dirty.
no, the water's very
I'll go to
clean.
the Caribbean. I swim there. I swim in Costa Rica. I
Yeah.
swim, you
Yeah.
know. But maybe I'll try it in Santa Monica again.
Yeah, come on, it'll be fun. And just watch what your brain does.
Yeah.
Because I watch it's a brain hack. People get scared, and we can use that. It's a great teacher.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
You can understand that.
Oh, yeah. I used to, prior to all of this, I used to work for the mayor of Los Angeles, back Tom Bradley when he was the mayor.
Oh, wow.
I worked 5 years in the district, Council District 8. I handled the senior citizen issues. I was the one who put the dips in the ground for wheelchairs and
Oh, I love that.
developed the senior
Of course you did,
citizen
yeah.
center, free food, a bunch of stuff. But I knew that wasn't my full dharma. I knew that, because I'd had a spiritual awakening. But I knew, because the politics was crazy, I don't need to get into all that. But I would leave City Hall every day, and on the way home, and I always go to the beach. And I would stand on a power spot, take off my tie and top, and, be standing there. And I would look at the ocean, and I would just open up, and I would do these breathing exercises, and I would feel the presence of God, and I would feel myself as an oceanic being, and I would get into bliss. And I would say, when I am doing what I'm called to do for real, this is how it would feel.
Right.
So little by little by little, my life changed. People started coming to see me. They wanted to be around me. They wanted personal healings. I started doing workshops, got a degree in spiritual therapy, and then it started growing. And so when I started speaking, it was the same feeling that I got when I was at the beach.
Oh, I love that. Well, so you understand.
Yeah, when I'm up there doing my thing, even now, it's the same energy when I was out there, just like, okay, use me. What am I called to do on the planet? So I always feel I know you feel the same way. Like when I'm called to do anything, I used to say, back in the day, I used to say 330 or 300, I don't care how many people, I'll go speak. I used to speak senior citizen center, there'd be 5 people there. 330 or 300, I'll show up.
Right.
And now it's a lot bigger.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But that energy, it's like, okay, use me, show up. I'm showing up. I know God's showing up as me. And that's how I feel. I feel after 40-something years, I still feel like a beginner.
Oh, yeah, I can feel it. Right.
You understand?
You're so curious still. You always want to learn.
I'm on the edge of discovery. I don't feel 40 years. I feel today. And I see a lot of my colleagues who are retiring. I say, retiring?
Oof.
Retiring to do what?
Right.
I talked to one of my friends. I don't know how long he was a minister. And he said he's retiring. I said, what do you mean you're retiring? What are you going to do? I said, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to the beach and drink Mai Tais. I said, I thought it was a joke. I said, really? All the wisdom that you have acquired, you're not going to do stuff?
Yeah.
I said, I bet you in a year you're going to be doing something. You're going to do a workshop. You're going to write a book. You're
something.
You're going to do something. You're not going to get all that wisdom. I just feel like I'm just getting started.
Right on.
You know, and I got a lot to learn about Michael and my connection with God. You know, that's kind of how I hang.
You know, ever since I moved down to Santa Monica, God hasn't missed a wave yet. If it changes, I'll let you know.
Right.
Yeah, they keep coming.
The cycles of the earth, the moon.
Powerful.
The immutable laws that govern the birth of galaxies and universes. Those same laws govern our own experiences. And so when we choose properly, our experiences change. You know. And so you're a living testimony.
Yes, sir.
You've been through hell.
I've been through, yeah.
But you kept going.
I kept going. I had to.
I used to say, I know this is you probably heard this statement before. I used to say, the difference between religious people and spiritual people is that religious people don't want to go to hell. Spiritual people have already been there.
Yes, we have.
You know?
That's right.
So
That's right.
Yeah, we've been there.
That's why I appreciate everything.
Yeah.
I do. I appreciate everything. Just simple things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't complain.
No, that's not in my language.
Yeah.
I don't complain. And I'm sure, I, like you, I work with people that have extraordinary wealth.
Yeah.
And they want to be me. And I say that kindly, humbly.
No, I know.
And I say that because they don't know the simplicity of just having a good time at a taco truck.
Right.
They don't understand going to the beach and just jumping in the water, what you understand. And
Right.
it's these simple I do really appreciate everything.
Yeah, there's a different poverty of the soul.
Yes, sir.
They have like a tremendous amount of physical wealth, but inside many of them are suffering from the poverty of the soul, and they feel disconnected. And there are many people who have a lot less that are happy.
Joyful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of what...
And the other thing is I never forget where I came from.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
When I do that morning, I bring that into consciousness.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, because when I look at what my life could have been like,
I don't think you'd be alive.
my mind could start going to a complaint about, oh no,
Oh, yeah.
I'm grateful. I get to go to Agape, I get to speak, I get to
Right.
teach, I get to talk to all these thousands of people,
Right.
and just
Yeah.
be.
And just be.
Yeah,
And just be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them about your center again, and if they need to find you, where they can.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. I guess we're out of time, huh?
We're never out of time, but I want to make sure we get who you are.
Yeah, definitely. Great. So, you can find me. My podcast is the Seano Show on iHeart.
Spell it for them too.
Seano, the Seano Show on iHeart or Spotify. My Insta is Team Seano on Instagram, and then the facility is shellvenice.com.
And why Shell? Why the name Shell?
It's on Shell Street.
Oh, obvious.
Yeah, it's on.
Thought you were going to give me some
it's
mystical. I was
Shell.
walking down the beach
It's
and
just
saw this beautiful shell.
No, it's
I
just
put
on
it to
Shell
my
Street.
ear and it said "Start the Center."
Yeah, and it's cool. It's a big pink building, and the back is blue. Looks a little bit. We had brought a little bit of Miami to Venice.
All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yep.
Outstanding.
So can I just end with this? And I
Yeah,
maybe alluded
listen,
to.
you got a couple more minutes. You
Okay,
can
good.
share anything that's on your heart.
I want to say this once again. Nobody can blow my light out unless I give them permission. Number one.
Right.
Number two. The world does not need to change. I do.
Yes.
3. The only person I suffer from is Seano McFarland. End of story. I must always take responsibility for my actions. And of course I fall down, but I always have a part in it.
Right. That's taking personal responsibility for your own life, the own thoughts that pass through your awareness, what comes out of your mouth, and the behavior and the actions that you take. If you take total responsibility for your own life, your life can be on a trajectory of greater joy, but it comes with one thing: service. You hear me say this all the time. Pray, meditate, vision, be of service. Then you come out of your little self, because one of the smallest people in the world is someone who's wrapped up in themselves. So be of service. And this man, Seano, he's of service. You can feel his energy. He's of service, which is why he has so much energy.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, man.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in,
Michael.
man.
Are you kidding me?
Thank you for coming in.
buddy. Yep.
Thank you, Brandy, for reminding me
Thank
about
you,
this man
Brandy.
again.
Yes.
I'm having a great day.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Michael, very much. What an honor to be here, man.
Hey,
Okay.
listen, this is Seano McFarland.
Yes.
Shell.
No
No shame in his game, no blame in his game.
That's right.
You heard all the ways that you can get in touch with him. If you need some help, don't be shy. Check this man out. Check his place out. You will feel welcomed, appreciated, and most importantly, you'll feel loved.
Amen. Thank
Have
you.
a beautiful day. Take back your mind. Take
Yes.
back your existence. Take back your heart. Take back your life. Don't let society run it. Take responsibility for your own life. Peace and blessings.
Wow. Peace and blessings. Boom.
Peace and radical blessings. Let me ask you a question. How do you start your day? How do you move through your day? How do you end your day going into the evening? Feel what I'm asking you. Because I want you to add to your day meditation. Meditation is paying undistractable attention to reality. That's a capital R, not the reality that you create with your thoughts, your opinions, your projections, your judgments, your points of view. No. I'm talking about that which is real, that which is timeless, that which is eternal, that which is forever. When we clear away the soot from our perception, we begin to see reality. As you begin to see reality or catch an insight into reality, your life changes. It's called taking total responsibility for your own life. I'm inviting you to begin the practice, and we call it a practice because you can never perfect it. You're always practicing. Practice the art and the science of meditation. So here at Take Back Your Mind podcast, we always devote a period of time to the practice of meditation. And we're going to do that right now together. So I invite you to just stop in this moment. Stop with me. I've said over the years, SYBD. Sit your butt down. Train the body to just stop. Perhaps in the morning before you get into your day. Perhaps before you leave your house. Perhaps sometime in the afternoon, you just stop. Perhaps in the evening, after you come in, sit your butt down. Turn within. Extract your attention from the world of effects, the world of appearances, the world of people, places, things, to-do lists, and establish an intention within your heart. Your intention to wake up to your glorious nature, your real self, your super soulful self. And then wrap your attention around your intention. Put a slight smile on the face. Enter into a moment of beginner's mind. This is the first time you've ever practiced. Lowly listen. Listen with your entire being, that you may catch the eternal broadcast of pure intelligence cascading throughout all creation. Let there be light, let there be love, let there be beauty, let there be intelligence. And deeply listen with your entire being. The body's breathing. The breath is present. You're present to the breath, your intention, and to deep listening. If the mind wanders, that's okay. Do not beat yourself up about it. Just be aware that the mind is wandering. Bring your attention back to the breath, your intention, lowly listening, beginner's mind. Stillness, silence, sacred solitude. As we have given ourselves permission to sit down and to be still, we now give thanks for the feeling tone of oneness with all of life, with a deep sense of gratitude that we exist at all. We become keenly available to inspiration, insight, wisdom, and guidance from the living presence that's everywhere, even as we move back into the daily round of our activity. We've tapped in and tuned in to infinite intelligence, divine love, so that the eternal is now in every step that we take. We feel good about this, and we let it be. And so it is. Amen. Thank you for these few precious moments of stillness. Your super soulful self is thanking you that you've given it permission to come through you, that you can be more you. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. I truly hope that you are enjoying Take Back Your Mind podcast. The Take Back Your Mind podcast is sponsored primarily by the Agape International Spiritual Center. In other words, everything that you see in terms of the staff that puts this together, the editing, the equipment, all of this is sponsored by our Agape International Spiritual Center. So if you are enjoying the podcast, I'm inviting you to support the sponsor. Support Agape. Simply go to agapelive.com and make a donation. And say in the donation that you are supporting the podcast. It allows us to keep broadcasting. It allows us to keep putting these magnificent moments together with these wonderful people that I get to interview. We keep having the possibility of updating the equipment that's necessary and providing the wonderful content that many of you are writing in and saying, I really love the podcast. Support the podcast. Support the sponsor. Agape International Spiritual Center. agapelive.com. You can also text to donate. You can text the word give to 424-321-6243 and put podcast so that we know that you're really supporting this wonderful podcast. Our secondary sponsor is AdaptoZen, ADAPTOZEN. This is my superfood greens. It's nutritionally dense because I teach spirit, mind, and body. We want our body temples to be healthy. So one of the products is my superfood greens. You can go to NutraRise.com. Those three little lines you see, you hit those three little lines and you'll see AdaptoZen. There's two products, my superfood greens and a product called Elevate, which are organic mushrooms for your health. You can put both in your smoothies so that you have main ingredients for the health of your body temple. These are our sponsors. Primary sponsor, Agape International Spiritual Center. Secondary sponsor, AdaptoZen. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be wise. Circulate and share. Peace and blessings. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in Taking Back Your Mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind and you will take back your life. Peace and blessings.